Hello everybody, Mr. Fritz here. I'm going to walk you through this PowerPoint that we had from class. So if you want to take a look at it at your own leisure, you're welcome to it. So we talked about substituting in for x, and I advocate for the use of parentheses when you're substituting in for x. So here's the example, this quadratic. And if you wanted to substitute in any number, you can type that exactly as it is without the y, of course, in your calculator and take any number that you want and put it in those parentheses. Or you can do this by hand the same way. I like the parentheses because then you might prevent accidentally forgetting a negative or forgetting your order of operations or whatever the case may be. So if I wanted to find the value of y in this equation, if x equals 3, what I'll do is take that 3, substitute it in for x by sticking it right in those parentheses. And here we go with the future animations. Ooh. So, from here, you're just using PEMDAS. You are squaring your 3 and multiplying 4 times 3, and you're multiplying your 2 times 9 to get your 18. You subtract across. 18 minus 12 plus 11 gives you 17. So again, use those parentheses, and then you can put any number in for x, and you'll see that all you're doing is you're replacing that variable with a different number. If you type it into your calculator like that with the parentheses, you can use that second entry button right over that enter sign, and then you can actually keep putting in any number you want for x and calculate it with one step really quickly. What we also talked about is finding the vertex in standard form of a quadratic. Remember, quadratic in standard form is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So if you look at this quadratic here, I've got an a value of 2. That's the number that hangs out with the x squared. A b value of negative 8. And that's my dog chiming in. And the c value is 11, although we don't really need the c value to find the vertex. Over on the right-hand side, you see that formula for the x value of the vertex there. So I'm going to take that formula, and I'm going to just plug in my b value and my a value. So that negative 8 and 2, and here it comes. So now that I plugged those two numbers in, I'm just evaluating negative of negative 8 over 2 times a. And again, I advocate for the use of those parentheses because now you can clearly see that I have a double negative in there. If you didn't use those parentheses, maybe you would have dropped the negative by accident on the 8 or whatever. And like I said, parentheses will save you from that kind of error. Crunch those numbers, you get 2. What we just found is just the x value of the vertex of this parabola. So to find the y, you plug in that x value for x and solve. So take that 2, substitute it in for your x, crunch your numbers through, y is going to come out to be 3. So you have the vertex as 2, 3. From there, if you wanted to graph the rest, all you're doing is you're making a table. You're putting in that vertex 2, 3 in the center of your table, and then you're going to proceed to fill out the x values by taking 2 numbers smaller than 2 and then 2 numbers greater than 2. Since 2 is the x value of your vertex. Take each of those x values, plug them into your equation, and you'll get your y for each step of the way. Now the last thing that we actually didn't hit in class today, but is still important to note, is converting from vertex form to standard form. So here we've got a vertex form. You can see that this is not looking like standard form. I don't have an A or a B or a C, but instead this is the AHK variant. So from here, it's real easy to spot the vertex. You take the opposite of what hangs out with the x, and you keep the k value. So the vertex here would be 2, positive 2, 7. But I want to convert into standard form. So to convert into standard form, you got to multiply and add until you can't combine any terms. So the thing that I can multiply here is my 2x minus 2 binomials. I'm going to expand that exponent, and then I'm going to multiply those two binomials together. I'm going to FOIL these two binomials to give me x squared minus 4x plus 3. Notice I haven't touched that negative 3 on the outside yet, but that will be my next step. I'm going to distribute that negative 3 to get a negative 3x squared plus 12x minus 7. The last step is just simplify, combine my like terms. And look at that, I'm done. How do you know when you're done converting to standard form? Well, like I said at the top with your mission here, once you can't combine any like terms, then you're complete. You've finished. I can't add anything together. I can't multiply anything else together. It is in standard form. So there you go. I hope that's helpful. Feel free to pause, rewind, and revisit any of these topics. And feel free to ask any questions in class if you have them. Alrighty.